Hello and welcome to the Patreon channel of True Crime Rocket Science. Today's quite a special day, I guess, on Patreon with a bit of a double billing. There is the 1 hour long discussion on the Madeleine McCann case with Gabrielle from Melbourne that you can listen to, and it's been something I've been meaning to get to for quite a few days. I just wanted to deal with it properly. In fact, I wanted to write about it, but I'm just really stretched for time. And Friday was just a really difficult day, queuing for 6 hours. I've just been really chasing my own tail the last couple of days. So I have wanted to deal with the affidavit of probable cause in terms of Letecia Stauch. Like I say, my preference would have been to write down a analysis, but I'm going to take you guys through something that I think no one has considered before, and I think it is quite an interesting, I mean, it is speculation, but I think it is entirely sort of not just valid, but it's sort of based on what we know about Letecia. It sort of fits the profile. So when we go to the affidavit of probable cause, it's quite recent. It came out on the 20th of May. And it's really a story about a snitch, Ms. Borchard, an inmate at El Paso County Jail, who sort of received letters from Letecia, and Letecia was sort of soliciting her help in trying to escape. And so the pertinent part, I think, is on page 2, where it says, Borchard stated Ms. Stauch said she was planning on breaking out of her cell window and measured herself. Letecia said she would fit through the window. I asked Ms. Borchard why Ms. Stauch would choose her to help Ms. Stauch escape. Borchard said it was because she was Italian and kind of the bad boy. Borchard stated Stauch thought if she offered Borchard money, she would help her escape, and I asked Borchard if she was going to give Stauch any help, and Borchard said, no way, that is why I told you about the letters to begin with. Borchard said she knows about Stauch's charges and doesn't want to be involved or have anything to do with her. Borchard said she did anything, it would be to use her for commissary. Commissary items are food or hygiene products that inmates can purchase. I'm not going to go through the rest, but so the part that I want to sort of emphasize here is you have a scenario here where Letecia is soliciting help. She's reaching out to a third party trying to solicit help in the commission of a crime. It's a felony to try and break out of jail, and it's a felony to seek the help of another inmate to do so. And there is also something on page, I'm sure many of you are aware of this, on page 3, where it looks like it could be a letter to Harley. It's addressed to Sweetie, and then there's references to Harley in that letter, and then it says something about if she's no longer in jail or missing, don't be afraid. So this does seem to be a letter addressed to Harley. Now, the part that I want to share with you that I think is quite pertinent is this suggests that Letecia may have had help. She may have solicited help also in the disposal of the body, right? You get certain criminals that are lone wolves. A good example is, say, Chris Watts and Scott Peterson. They basically will operate alone, and then they might just have the sort of support of their parents, not in a direct way, but kind of in a almost a distant way, but they're kind of lone wolves. And then you get other people who tend to be, what's the best way of describing it? They are amenable to the idea of a gang or a group or working with others, right? Now, we know in Letecia's backstory, we know in her history, that she was part of what some people have called a gang, but something was going on when she was in high school where she was involved with a group of people. We're not 100% clear about that, but it does seem like she was in a group of people. Do you agree with me on that? Now, what you have here as well is the same kind of thing where instead of just trying to break out and whatever, she's soliciting help. She's asking somebody to help her. She's trying to use someone to benefit what she's trying to achieve for herself, right? Now, it's that psychology that one can potentially take into the disposal of Gannon's body. Did she not solicit help in that? Did she not ask someone for the use of a car? Now, there are two possibilities here. There's the possibility that she solicited help with that person's knowledge, where the person knew that that they're doing something wrong, or did she solicit help with the person not knowing? Now, the impression I get from Letecia Stauch reminds me a lot of the Patrick Frazee case. Patrick Frazee did exactly the same thing. When he was in jail, he sort of solicited another inmate. He sort of asked an inmate if this inmate would kill Crystal Kenny and other people that he identified. So he was also soliciting a third party to sort of help him do his dirty business, if that makes sense. That also corresponded to Frazee soliciting Kenny's help to kill Kelsey Bereth. Like, he literally told her, will you kill her? And he gave her a murder weapon, and he apparently asked her on 3 separate occasions to kill Kelsey. So Frazee's the kind of guy who will solicit help. And like I say, he did it in terms of the crime. We know about that. And he did it in terms of when he was an inmate. So now the question is, doesn't the same apply to Letecia as well? And I think it does. I think the difficult question to ask and answer, the sort of more problematic aspect is, was Harley involved? Was she involved at any point in this whole timeline? And the fact that this letter addressed to Harley doesn't talk about her breaking out, kind of, how can I put it? It seems to suggest that Harley is innocent in all this. But we don't know that for sure. My gut says that I think Harley doesn't know, but that somebody else close to Letecia, maybe in her past, does know. So we will see whether that speculation is borne out substantively during the trial. But it was something that I want to share with you guys. What's also interesting is in Letecia's letter to her daughter, she said something like, you need to keep normal and focused, and she underlined these comments, which seems to suggest that if it was addressed to Harley, if it was meant for Harley, that what would be different to acting normal, acting in a criminal way, or doing something that's gonna raise suspicion? Well, you can only do that if there's something to be suspicious about, right? So it will be very interesting during the court case to actually see these 3 letters, if we do get to see them. I'm sure that we will ultimately, but that's something I think definitely to look forward to. Speaking of looking forward to, tomorrow I should finish up with the Beneath the Oil audiobook, so that should wrap up on Monday. Then on Tuesday it's the Van Breda, Inside the Van Breda trial. I'll talk to you a little bit about that as well. That's every Tuesday. And, I had some really incredible interactions in that trial with the prosecutor, with Henry himself. Even his girlfriend contacted me. Just quite an interesting story related to that. I mean, I traveled down to Cape Town to attend trial, and then wrote the Diablo series. So that's definitely quite interesting. Obviously, Wednesdays the Kessinger tapes, and Thursdays the Watts tapes. I've got something that I want to ask you guys. I'm just like, I don't know what is wrong with me. I just can't find some of the information I'm looking for. I seem to have in my head, it's almost like a thorn in your shoe, or something that's stuck in your throat. I'm trying to find an image of Chris Watts sleeping in the cubicle, and it's somewhere. I just cannot locate it anywhere. So I just want to ask you guys to keep your eyes open. If you've seen it published on a blog or in a video somewhere, just if you can alert me. I do think there's a case to be made that Chris Watts is really sleep deprived, and that's why he thought he could get away with what he was doing, why he made such silly mistakes. And I think sleep deprivation had quite a lot to do with it. And the fact that he was sleeping in the cubicle, I mean, he's like being interrogated. He's just confessed to his wife's where his wife and children are, and then he sort of falls asleep. And Shanann also said, you can sleep at a time like this. And even Kessinger said he would like nod off in the middle of talking to her. All of that speaks of someone who is wired for much of the time, and then his old patterns are completely out of sync. So I just really want to source that image. I think I will eventually find it, just because it's in one of my files somewhere. But if one of you come across it, please let me know. Okay, and that's about it. I hope you're having a good Sunday, a good weekend. And I just want to thank all my patrons on Patreon, and looking quite good on YouTube. I'm up to 12,000 followers. Hopefully that's going to carry on. Those who haven't listened to the Van Gogh story, now it's really getting interesting. So now's a really good time to get onto the train and just follow some of those letters that we're covering. It's a really interesting story. Read some of the comments. If you don't want to watch the video, people are starting to say it's getting really, really interesting, this whole thing. And it's all about debunking Van Gogh's death as a suicide, and making the case that he was murdered. And there's a murderer, and there's a motive, and there's a whole dynamic going on there as well. Okay, so thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.